Hello, Julie.
Hello,
Hi.
Tina. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good, good. I
Good.
hope I'm not as glitchy this time. Last
Well,
time I
yeah,
could
you're
see in the
yeah, you're
beginning, especially, I was very glitchy.
yeah, you froze up a little bit there at the beginning when I said hello. It's like, oh
Okay.
no, not a great start. We'll
I
ask
know.
we'll
Yeah.
ask the guides and angels to like smooth sailing, like that you don't freeze and I
Please.
don't freeze, right? Yeah,
Thank
please,
you.
please make it go good.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And hello, everybody. Happy Monday to everybody.
yeah. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm glad.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're glad?
So
Yes. What?
I was going to say, well, glad if you can join us live. And if not, if you're watching this
Yes.
later, glad you're watching this later too. And this week's show is part two because last Monday we did part one of our soul numbers according to our date of birth and the corresponding tarot and astrology signs. And because there's 12 numbers and like we can't fit it all in one show because we don't want to go on forever, right? Talking forever. Um,
Right. We could.
yeah, we could, but I don't know if everyone would want to stick around that long. But so we decided to do in two parts. So this week's show is to finish off the last six numbers. And I just noticed like my internet might be funny, but I know it's because of the weather where I'm at. It's terrible, terrible weather. It's really, really windy. So I don't know if you lose me. I won't know, but let me know if you can in the comments.
Okay.
And we'll try to
Yes.
pick up from where it was lost. Yeah. So hopefully it's smooth
Okay,
sailing.
good. Yeah. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
getting a really bad storm there. I know. Hello
Yeah.
to Jessica and Mom.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Hi,
Hope you
ladies.
guys are
Thanks
all
for.
not getting that bad storm. Is it just real local for you, or is it kind of
Um,
widespread through Canada?
I'm not sure how far into Canada like how far east. It's for the prairies, so that means Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. But I don't know if it's reached
Okay.
those provinces yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, it started last night and it's just awful. It's really cold and we got snow and
Huh.
it's wind. I know. It's like it's spring. Come on, you guys.
It's supposed to be spring.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
supposed to be
yeah,
spring.
yeah.
It's coming. Can't
It's
stop it.
coming. Yeah.
There's always
Okay,
a
so
last hurrah.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, so we'll distract ourselves with the numbers
Yes, there you go.
and the tarot. Yeah.
I'm ready. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how this is going to work is we're going to just briefly explain the different traits of the numbers according to your date of birth. And hopefully this will, give people insight and just maybe an understanding of certain whys, like, why they are a certain way or why they are drawn to this or like certain things. Yeah, so a better understanding of their path. And how it works is like I picked a date as an example. So I'm going to show everyone here. So if you want to do your own date of birth, write it out on a piece of paper and then you put everything in number form and a plus sign. So you have to use the full date. So it's like March is the third month, the 29th day. And I just used the year 2000 because I wanted it to show like one of the numbers we're focusing on. So as you can see, I put a plus sign and then it equals 16. And then we want it to a single digit again. So a plus sign in between the 1 and the 6 to get the single digit. And it's a number 7 soul. So the soul numbers, just as a friendly reminder, is about, talks about in numerology, like why we're here. So it's like our natural gifts, what we're naturally drawn to, what we may like and don't like this lifetime. Also our lessons, what we're here to learn, accept, and overcome. And then with the tarot, which Julie's going to bring in, she's looked at, what she feels is the corresponding tarot card for each soul number. And then we'll briefly just talk about what the astrology sign is. So we're not going to go into the details of the astrology because we don't have enough time and it's, maybe too overwhelming. So we'll just share like, okay, number 7 is this astrology sign and leave it at that. Okay. So we're going to start off with number 7. And the number 7 soul are I call them the mystics. So it's a very spiritual number energy. Yeah. And they are here to learn about faith, Faith. And that can go, in the literal sense, like it can be about religion. So some 7s, they might feel drawn to a certain religion or explore different religions and see how it fits in. It could mean they're atheists because they don't believe in religion. They don't believe in God or whatever is associated with that area of life. Mm-hmm. But it goes deeper than that in the sense of they're here to learn and show others about believing before seeing. So it's like and that's where the faith is. So it's like, because faith is like there's no proof right away. You just have to really believe in that will come or that will be a certain way. Just feel like, things will work out or things will unfold how they're supposed to. So it goes deeper than that. I find too 7s, they are secretive and they're also good at keeping secrets. So if you're wanting to unload, especially if it's something really personal and you might feel guilty or, insecure about holding a secret of your own but you feel like, oh, I got to get it out. I need to tell someone. I would find a 7 soul because they're very good they won't tell anyone. Okay. They're not
right. You have this questionnaire. Are you a 7? Okay.
Yeah. When's your date of birth? Okay, I can tell you my secret. You're a 7.
When's your date of birth?
Yeah.
I got a good one.
They're quiet-natured, and they're supposed to be natural or show it's good to be naturally beautiful or just show their natural self. So for me, it's a combination of like they're not supposed to always show like being all made up or dolled up is not always the way to go in life. Like just showing your natural beauty or like enjoying the natural beauty around us. I also want to say like they are drawn to subjects that are about intuition and alternative healing therapies as well. So, they should look into like, say, massage therapy, crystal therapy or crystals, tarot cards, astrology, numerology, anything like that we do here and along those subject lines. That's good for them to explore and incorporate into their own lives. I also want to say, like it's not easy being a vegetarian, is it? Like not everyone can do it and not everyone's supposed to be, but I try to tell 7 souls it's a benefit for you to cut back on meat or on products that are heavy in nature and to, incorporate more raw vegetables and fruits into your diet rather than meat. So it's like if you can't go meat free, cut back on the meat. Like don't eat it every day or eat meat every other day. Or maybe have more fish than red meats. The other thing I want to say too is they can come across because they're so naturally quiet. They don't like to reveal. They don't like to talk a lot. They can appear as being snobs or aloof. And it's not because they are. It's just they're naturally, they would naturally be quiet and just observe than get involved, or be loud because they don't like loud noises. They don't like a lot of activity or action, like anything that's too stimulant or too busy, too crazy in the outside world really drains their energy. So they'd rather, lead a quiet life. So what do you have? Yeah. What did you pick for the tarot? Corresponding tarot.
I agree with so much of that with the tarot, with the corresponding tarot. So much of what you're saying corresponds to the tarot because They are naturally quiet. That's a natural intuitiveness that a number 7 in the tarot has. The tarot is naturally, or the 7 is naturally intuitive. So they pull
Yeah.
inside themselves because they're right. They're kind of always at odds with their analytical and spiritual side. So they're very analytical, very grounded, very fact finding, like you said. But then there's this intuitiveness of things they can't see. So they're kind of always in a push me, pull me energy a lot of times because they're trying to balance out the spiritual with the known. So
Yeah.
the 7 in the tarot is the Chariot. So I think this is so interesting because right here you've got the fact finding intuitive side with the spiritual side right here. And the Chariot, I've talked about it a couple of times, is merging two opposing energies for the better good of humanity, really, to grow ideas, to expand the consciousness. And in order to do that, you have to have the opposing sides. You have to have the contrast to merge and to grow further with this idea. So every single life path number is so critical to humanity and the lessons that they bring, because they're very diverse and different, each life path number, but yet they're so needed. We need these Chariot people that know how to take what we know, science grounded facts and truths, and mix that with our imaginations and thinking outside the box and not staying within the bounds of society. So they're the leaders in that. They are the leaders in that by far. So I thought that was very interesting how that kind of goes with what you're saying with the life path number.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel a little bit out of place too, because they're on a different wavelength than most people are. They're trying to pull in all of the information as the spiritual leaders that they are, spiritual leaders for sure.
Yeah.
So, but an example of a 7 I looked up this morning is Stephen Hawking. So I don't know if you know Stephen Hawking or his teachings. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So that's a prime example of somebody who thinks outside the box, thinks universally, and yet can go into the imagination as well. So grounded in imagination merging. So I really love that. Yeah. So I'm thinking that. And hello to everyone coming in. I see Arlene and Carrie. Hello, ladies. And Hazel. It's good to see you. I saw you last time. I didn't get to say hello to Hazel there.
Yeah. But. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Welcome. Yeah. And I one more thing I just want to say about
picking up as far as the tarot.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah. And 7s, souls, like they don't have an explanation for everything, and they're supposed to show that to others. Like there's still mystery in life. Like not everything we
exactly.
We don't have the answers for everything, right? And it's like sometimes you have to go by instinct and just have faith, the next step will be okay, or you're being led in the right direction. So, they're supposed to be led by intuition and just go with that and try not to control every aspect of life, which isn't always easy to do because 7s, they feel the need to control everything, and you're not supposed to. So that's one of the things they have to try to overcome this lifetime.
Right. Yeah. They're blending analysis with intuition at all times. Yeah. They're analyzing the situation, and then they're blending the intuition. So that's just naturally them. Yeah, I love that.
And sometimes they can't explain it. Like they might have this, feeling inside, like they need to go here, or they need to go do this, or check something out, and they can't explain it, but it's really strong, and it's like, follow that, because you're supposed to show like, wow, it can end up, life can be magical when you follow your intuition. Absolutely. And that's what they're here to show and do this lifetime. And then the corresponding astrology sign is Libra. Yeah, is Libra. Yeah. Number 8. Go on to number 8.
Yes.
So number 8. Yeah, number 8, they are, I call them the builders. So that can be, again, in the literal sense, like I find 8s, they're naturally gifted with their hands. So it doesn't mean like, oh, you have to be a carpenter or an electrician or, doing something like in that career sense, but with your hands, because it's like they need to keep their hands busy, or they need to get their hands into things in life. And builders, in the sense, I want to go on the level, like they're here to help people build their esteem, build their confidence, or help build their business, or build whatever that person is trying to elevate in their life. So not just those around them, but also for themselves. I want to say most eight souls I do come across in life, they are naturally confident. Like and I really admire that. So it's like almost, they come across as like nothing can get them down. And they are also solution seekers. Like they are very persistent. And for some people, it comes across as like, oh, they're nags, or boy, they're, they don't give up easily. And that's what they're here to show and exemplify, is like not to give up on life, or on goals or dreams, or certain, projects in life easily. Like you don't always get it on the first try. Sometimes you have to, you'll fall down 20 times and you keep getting up, because if that's important to you, you keep going for it. So, and that's what they're here to show and do. Solution seekers, like I find with eights, like if you tell them like, I don't know what to do about this, or I can't find something, get an 8, because they will search and search until it's found. They don't give up easily. Also too, they have to be, they also too, because of that though, at times they come across as being, I want to say like as know-it-alls, or ego, because they have the answers, or they think they do, right? Yeah. So that's their downfall. Right. It's like they come across as know-it-alls, and people think like, oh, like they're cocky, or they've got a big head on their shoulders, that kind of. So it's like confidence, versus cocky. Right. Yeah, know-it-alls. They also have expensive tastes. They like the finer things in life. They also are here to show like about the law of attraction, because when you look at the number 8, it's that infinity symbol. So they, are here to learn about the law of attraction, not only for themselves, but for those around them. So for those that don't know about law of attraction, I recommend looking it up, because there's so much said about it in our world. And just to realize, like, what you put out there comes back, right? What you put out, whether it's a thought, right, or an action, right? It's also to, connected to the ego. So they're here to show like ego, it can be a good thing, but it can also be something you need to hone in, or like not be so involved in, I guess, like, because there's always a good and bad side to everything, right? So they're here about balancing the ego this lifetime.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the card? I'm curious to see what card you came up with.
So I know, right? I'm so glad that you and I didn't discuss this at all prior, because here I can listen to you then, right? And then it so relates. So I'm so glad about that.
Yeah, me too.
So so mom, right? So mom is a number 8. Doreen is a number 8. So everything you were saying made me laugh about that, because a lot of it was so true. And the 8 is the strength card in the tarot. I love the strength card.
Oh, I like that one.
Courage and and the
lion.
And
with the lion.
Me of my mother, for sure. Yes, yes. And this is a traditional strength card. There's the infinity, with that camera, it's weird, but there's the infinity sign in the strength card. And the infinity sign too, you were talking about what you give out, you get back, is the universal laws of karma. And those lessons can go lifetimes, or we have these mini karma lessons within this lifetime. So that's what makes me think of that. But the strength card and in the tarot and the number 8 in general is the material manifester. The strength card is all about the material world and personal power. The eights are here to really show us how to gain your own personal power. You use your power and authority, wisely for the good of others. You know how to stand up for yourself, but that doesn't come easy for the eight. The eight has these many karmic lessons to learn. Sometimes it's a difficult childhood. You're learning how to stand up for yourself, how to self-empower yourself, self-empower. And that's the strength. That's where every human strength comes from once you get that self-empowerment, and it's only by experience that you can learn those things. So that's why it's difficult to be the leader on this path, because you're showing the collective how to stand up for themselves in a healthy way. You're not fighting against that. You're using that ego that you were talking about, which does exist there for such good reason, because they're so eights is all about financial security too, and money lessons in the tarot. So your drive will center around money in some way, shape, or form. And money, as we know, love it or hate it, is power in this world.
That's
and
right.
It brings you personal power. So your drive for money is not unneeded in this path. If you feel like money is everything to you, there's a reason for that if you're an eight, because that is power and gives you the authority to help the collective rise to where you've been. You won't dwell in the negative either. You won't be a victim, because you've gone through some hard times learning this self-empowerment, but you will never look back at yourself as being a victim of those circumstances. You will always know that that's what gave you the strength to truly help others. And then the eights will give of all their finances that they've acquired too. They're very, very giving of their intelligence and their time and their money too. So, and mom is a prime example of that. Yeah. So, the control issues, you're here to learn about control issues and how to master that.
And you're exactly right.
And like I said, every number is so needed.
And eight, it is connected to the material world and the wealth. And I tell eights this lifetime, try to look at the value in sense of like worth inside, like not just what it's worth materially, right? That's what they need to know and learn, because it's like when you look at the value of something, it's like, because sometimes, let's say you're buying an outfit, sometimes, if you're going to look at the price, sometimes the cheapest one is better value because the material is in better quality or it's made better. It's not always the most expensive, or sometimes it's the middle priced one, right? So it's like, if you look at the value of the product or of the situation or whatever it is, that's where you find the benefit more. Life is easy, or things fall into place, or things go your way, right?
Absolutely. Worth, self-worth, and the worth of things. Yes, exactly right.
And then the corresponding astrology sign is Scorpio.
Oh, look at that. Yes, I love that, because you're a Scorpio. Yes. Hello to Eleanor, my friend. How are you?
Yes, welcome. Number 9? Number 9. So they are, I call them, they're the truth seekers. And it's funny, when I do readings and I come across a 9 soul, I always bring up a certain tarot card. Out of all the numbers, that's the only one that I do that. Isn't that interesting?
Really?
Yeah, like to explain the energy of the 9. So I'm not going to say it now, because it's like I'm going to leave that part for you to see what you come up with. But 9s are the truth seekers, and the number 9 in numerology, they're here. So they're gifted at ending things, or seeing things to its completion, or seeing the end of something. So it's like, the end in sight, right? And 9s, they have the task of dealing with the darker side of life, which is not easy, because that is a part of our journey on this planet for everyone. So we all have our dark moments. We all have our dark days. There are dark experiences, like we can't sugarcoat. So they're not here to sugarcoat anything, right? So they're here, but it's because they're here to help us heal those the dark shadows, or the dark, the darker parts of ourselves, darker parts of life.
That's right.
It's also deals with the subject of death. So it's also, so it can be in the literal sense. So it's like, I find, and not everyone, especially I find in Western society, the subject of death is not explored enough, because there's so much stigma and fears about it. So nines, they deal with our fears in life as well. And one of them has to do with death, because it's the great unknown, right? So many people are scared to explore the subject of death, or to face death, or to talk about it. And nines are here like, no, like, it can be a good thing to talk about it, to explore it, right? It's not as dark or depressing as, maybe we've been taught or led to, to believe. So they might be fascinated with that subject. So death, it could be like, oh, along the lines, like they want to learn about reincarnation, where it's past lives, also about, what do I want to say about death? Like near death experiences is another thing. Also about the journey, like maybe they want to, talk about death. So it's like it brings some peace and healing about it, right? Also,
Right.
too, I find with nines, they are here to help us learn about, the past, or like to show like the past does count or is important. Because I know there are those out there that talk about like, no, the only thing that counts is today, or the moment. And it's like, yeah, it, for some people, but not for everyone. Like the past does count. So the reason why they are here to show that is because, we're wiser. Like, are we wiser from what we learned in our past, or what we've experienced in our past? And sometimes, there are things from our past that can bring healing, like, and that could be through like, maybe a favorite food dish, that we had as a kid, and it's like, oh, it brings me comfort now. Or maybe a favorite show or movie from our past, it brings me comfort now, or it can bring comfort to those around us because there's lessons or healing in it. So nines, I find they don't have it easy, and they have to be aware of depression is one thing I want to say about nines. The other thing too, nines is connected, like, because it's the past, and it's also connected to things that are old. So, like, I want to say like antiques, and it's like they're good at bringing life to things that maybe we feel like, oh, it has no longer a purpose because it's old, or it doesn't work anymore. And it's like, no, nines are gifted at like, no, let's repurpose it, or let's fix it up, because it's like, it's still good, right? And connected to the senior population.
Yeah, right.
Well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of nines, here comes my sister Vicky, just entered the room, and she is a 9. So I was going to bring her up anyway, and she popped in.
Yeah, look at that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Vicky. So
Hi, Vicky.
are you finished? Should I start with the tarot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So go with your tarot card.
Are you done? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the number 9 is the Hermit card in the Major Arcana. So there's that truth-seeking, ancient wisdom kind of that's pulling forward and has a light to follow here. This is the all through the times wisdom that the Hermit is following. He follows integrity and spiritual wisdom, and he pulls integrity from the times back, from ancient times. That's the path of the 9, is with the highest integrity. They're creatives to get there too. They're very, they're empaths too, and they will allow themselves, like you said, to go to the dark side because they always know where the light is. They always have that wisdom to truth to follow out of it that a lot of people don't have because their life paths are focused on other things, right?
Yeah.
So the number 9, right? So they can develop this wisdom at a deeper level, the number 9. So they'll allow themselves to go to all these scenarios. Vicky and I were laughing about this yesterday with her because Vicky is a natural healer in times of crisis too. When you talk about she's that the older population, you know, the nines are geared toward helping them. The nines help in a selfless way, in some way, shape, or form. The nines are helping selflessly. They are Mother Teresa is a number 9. I looked that up to see. So that's an example of the selflessness of a 9, and helping to heal those through, to help them find that integrity path, that truth that exists there. So they're always guiding that way. So they'll go down the dark alleys. They'll go down the dark alleys with that light, and they'll shine the light on it. Okay, what if this did happen? And they'll go down that path, and they'll shine that light in that dark corner that nobody wants to go to. And sure enough, all the bad monsters scurry away. You know what I mean? Like that's what they are here for, and that's so needed in life, are these truth seekers, these Mother Teresas, right? Yeah. So I love that about it. They can detach from old establishments too, because they're always paving the way. The nines, they're, you know, even in the tarot, the nines, there's the extremes. The 9 of Cups is wishes fulfilled, and the 9 of Swords is sleepless nights and sorrow. So they're going to those places. They're going to those scenarios so that they can prepare, and then they can prepare us for these scenarios. They don't necessarily have to live them in real life scenarios, but they do in their imagination, and it hurts just as bad in an imagination when you're feeling the emotion of this. But they're preparing themselves and those around them for those moments, that's human moment, you know, that we all have. So they shine their light on that moment, and really a great life path number to have. Absolutely.
No, they're very needed, you know, because sometimes we do have to go through dark moments, and we do have to face the dark parts of ourselves that we don't like to acknowledge, because 9 is also connected to shame and guilt and judgments, right? And 9s are here to learn and help, not only for themselves, but like, you know, to help show others, like, okay, we need to heal that, forgive it, because 9 is about forgiveness too, and let it go, because 9 is always about letting it go,
detach.
And so it's not an easy path, but it's like, it's so needed, right? And it's like you say, it's like, because the light's just on the other side of all that, right? And they help us heal those parts of life in ourselves. Definitely.
Right, they do. They help us detach from that as well too, because they know the way to do that. They've already gone through that scenario in their head. They've already lived that in their emotions. They've already felt those. So they can relate to you very easily in times of sorrow. You know, my sister, that's a prime example. When something horrible has happened, or I'm perceiving myself in a really dark place, Vicky's who I call. Vicky's exactly who I call in that scenario, because she's not going to tell me I'm overreacting or I'm being silly or how she's had it worse. You know, don't feel bad, because she won't do that, Vicky. She just receives you, she processes it, and then she moves forward with the solution. She's a solution finder.
Right. 9s, they help you see the light in the dark. That's what I want to say. And you know, when you pick the Hermit, that's the card I use when I talk to 9 soul clients.
Right? Is it?
It is. There we go. There
you go.
So we're down to the last 3, and the reason why I'm bringing up the last 3, so these are in numerology called the master numbers: 11, 22, and 33. And before I start talking about them, I did another example chart, if I can show everyone. So if you're a master number, so I used today's date, and I picked a year that I knew it was going to add up to a master number. So again, you put a plus sign in between each. And then when it adds up to a master number, so 11, 22, or 33, it stops there. And then I usually put a slash, because if I were to put a plus sign in between the two threes, it equals a 6. So master numbers like 11, 22, and 33, they have combination of the meaning of like that master number, but also as the single digit. So it's like they carry both. So 11s, they also carry the energies of the number 2. 22 also carries the energy of a number 4. And 33 masters carry the energy of a number 6. So it goes both. They have all those qualities. The other thing I want to say about master numbers is they're here to actually master like life on this planet. And so that, for me, that encompasses
big job.
It is a big job, because for me, this is how I explain it when I come across a master number soul. I say it's like, so numerology, they've got, again, just a reminder, they have this belief that they believe in reincarnation, and they believe that the soul picks, their journey and their life plan. So master numbers, it's like before they're, when they pick that journey path, it's like, okay, I want it all to happen this lifetime when I come to Earth. It's like I want as many different experiences and lessons as possible, because I want to get it done and over with. So a lot of times they go through challenges in life ahead of the crowd, or ahead of, let's say, most of society. And it's because it's to help them gain this true understanding and to make them relatable to those around them. So if someone comes up to them and say, like, I'm struggling with this in life, or I'm struggling with this part of myself, that master soul will be like, yeah, they truly understand, because they've gone through that already. And it makes them relatable. Okay. So I find master souls, they have a hard time fitting in society, because it's like they have such a strong spiritual sense, and there's things that happen, like as far as like in a human realm, or like the human side of life. It's like it doesn't always jive with them, or they have a hard time like understanding, or like maybe shaking their heads like, why is this still happening? Because they're very, very sensitive. They're very, very sensitive. So let's talk about, I guess, each number now. So number 11s. So the number 11 soul is about enlightenment. So they are here to learn to stand on their own 2 feet. And so despite, let's say, if they do receive help, or if they do receive support, eventually it comes to the moment where they have to learn on their own, or to get the lesson on their own, or to figure it out on their own. And they're also here to, let's say, blaze a path. So that means like it doesn't always fit in, or like, they might be ahead of the times, but it's, they might question it, because it's like, well, no one else is doing it, or I won't fit in, or people will think I'm not doing it right, or, because they're very sensitive about it, right? They care about what others think. They care about, like, am I doing the right thing? And it's like, nope, you're supposed to like do it your own way, forge your own path. Don't always listen to what others have to say, because it may not fit for you. So it's like you have to trust your own intuition. You have to follow your own heart. They're very individualistic, spiritual leaders. They're not meant to follow the crowds, like they're supposed to stand apart in some manner. And they have to be aware of sadness, their emotions, and shutting down, because they will recluse, or they will shut themselves down if they feel like they're not fitting in, or they feel like they're not being accepted. And they're not supposed to, like, they're supposed to heal that part. Like, you're not supposed to fit in, or you're not supposed to feel accepted by everyone. And yet that's what they crave, and they crave to be part of a group. They crave to be part of the crowd. And that's not how it's supposed to work for them.
Interesting.
What do you have? What card is
I don't have
associated?
I don't have a specific. I mean, I do have an 11 tarot card because that's the Justice card in the tarot.
Right.
So if we went by the Justice card, that's everything that you were talking about, pretty much. Which I absolutely can see that, because I was my dad is an 11, so I was trying to see, and I see Mara's an 11 too. So 11s fascinate me. My dad fascinates me. Yeah. Because he's not a real, he's an atheist.
Okay.
Which is funny, because they're supposed to be the spiritual illuminators. But when you were talking about that, I thought, well, that makes sense, because he's illuminating what his stance is on God, because Dad's never been never really had much of a stance on it. It's not like he was proudly saying, I don't believe, or you shouldn't believe, or he never really put much thought to it. So doesn't that shine a light on the opposite then too, of something that, a spiritual illuminator, is really what an 11 is known for. So I just think that's just absolutely fascinating, because all paths lead to enlightenment, even those paths, right? Because there's the contrast of it. So I love that.
Yeah. And it's funny, because it's like he's
creative.
Yeah. And it's like so it's like he's probably standing his own ground on those beliefs, right? And if you look at it, I mean, there's a stigma when someone says I'm atheist. There's a lot of stigma around that. No matter what your own beliefs are, like someone can say, like, I never go to church, or I don't belong to religion. But if you were to say I'm an atheist, oh wow, like, their back goes up, and it's like, what?
Now you have a conversation.
Yeah. So and he's enlightening. He's probably like enlightening people about why he's an atheist, and what that means to him, right?
Exactly. He's removed the stigma of an atheist. I can tell you that, because many, many, many of his close friends and family would not know that about him. It's not something that ever comes up, because his conversation is, he's such a creator. He's an inventor. He's invented brilliant things. And so that goes on that path too, as well as being an inventor. So he shows that he's every bit has all the qualities of an 11, is a loving, caring, religious person without the religion, so he's showing that he's removing that stigma from that. Absolutely. Yes.
And I find 11, so I mean, well, all master numbers, right? But 11s, they care, and sometimes they care more than they should sometimes, right? And but they are, it's like, how there's that saying, what is it, we're a spiritual being having a human experience.
That's right. Yeah,
I find that's what masters are doing this lifetime. Like, they're here to exemplify that, live that, and help others with that process as well. And it's not easy, because a lot of things I find in our society is set up where it's like, no, it's about more about the human journey than the spiritual side, right? Like, and so that's where I find, like, they feel like they don't fit in. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's amplified. Your life's purpose. You have all these lessons. Like when you said you think, okay, I'm going to get it all done in this lifetime, so I don't have to come back again. Well, as a human being, you have no idea what you're signing up for there. That's that's art. My Aunt Joy, I want to see what she says. She says, I respect atheism because then they do good from their consciousness and not from the fear of hell. That's what he's showing. He does things out of his own integrity. That's exactly right, Joy. He does things from his own strong integrity and values and character rather than fear. like a lot of
Right.
people do. That's a great point. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And I find masters, so 11, 22s, 33s, they do well when they go by what feels right. So that doesn't always, so, like
That's right.
I find, let's say, well, in every area of life. So it's, let's say, business leaders, they say, oh, don't give away too much for free, right? Or like they have certain rules, right? You should follow to be a success in business. And that, you know what I mean? Just as an example. Whereas a master will be like,
That's
well,
right.
I really
Absolutely.
want to give this much for free. Or I feel like, taking donations instead of charging a price, and that's how they're supposed to be. It's like they're forging or bringing up ways that don't align with the human, rules and regulations of life, right?
Yes.
I hope that made sense. Like, that's what I
Absolutely.
want to
Yes.
say. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then 11 is
Okay.
associated with the astrology sign of Capricorn.
Oh,
There we
Capricorn. That's my
go.
moon.
Oh, wait. Is it Capricorn? Yeah, it is
No,
Capricorn.
is it
Yeah,
not?
Capricorn. Did I forget
Capricorn.
9? I think I did. So number 9 is the astrology sign of Sagittarius. Okay. So let's go on
Oh,
to number
fire.
22, the number 22 master. Now, one thing I want to say
Mhm.
is I've done many, many readings, and it's very, very rare I come across a 22 soul. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because like there's not many combinations that add up to 22. That could be why. I will come across like someone who has a 22 in their date of birth, let's say the 22nd day, or the year will add up to a 22. But when the whole date of birth adds up to 22, it's very, very rare. So 22 also has many of the traits of a number 4. So 22, they're the mentalists. So it's like they can, if you can think it, you
Right?
can do it. If you can think it, it can appear, like in that sense. They are here to, and I call them also to, like, they're the bridge makers. It's like they bridge like our physical world to the spiritual world, like bring those two together. It's
Yeah.
like partnerships, merging ideas, merging facts, merging um, figures, like just bringing things together in a way. It's like balancing the spiritual and our um, human side of life, is how I want to put it. They're very persuasive. And so if someone comes up with an idea, it's like, okay, how can we make this a reality? That's what I want to say about the 22 masters.
Yes.
They also have to be aware of, yeah, and also about making our dreams a reality, right? So it's like, what work, or what will it take? And it's like, who do we have to partner up with, or what do we have to partner up with to make that a reality? Yeah, so it's about bringing things together and making it real. They have to be aware of being too tough and also impractical, because it's like sometimes some dreams are not possible this lifetime, or we're not there as a society, right? So at times they can feel like, they're left behind, or they feel like they're not supported because it's like maybe they're too ahead of their time, or they're not receiving enough support to make that dream a reality, right? What do you have to say about?
Yeah. So I was reading about being the master builder and teacher is the number 22 life's path. So I wonder why they're rare though. That's interesting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and watch.
But
I'm gonna like,
right.
I'm gonna get like people, booking with me, and they're
this.
like, 22. You're 22. Yeah.
They're going to come to you in droves.
Yeah, they're gonna come out of the woodwork
right?
now. Yeah.
They are.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the double two, which is harmony and love, you know, with the four, which is process and stability. So you've got a little bit of a mix mash there, because you're looking for stability and love, and yet you're a great manifester and builder and always looking for new adventures. So that stability and the new adventure fight is always kind of an issue for a number 22, I think. And also, you're here as a 22 to absolutely that execute projects, help people build on their ideas, get it executed, and then you're on to the next. So one thing I've learned about a 22 is you don't always get to see it come to fruition. You rarely do get to see their dreams come to fruition, even though you were instrumental in helping them with their dream. They would have never been able to do it without you. You rarely keep in contact with that, because it's your life to get it started. It's your life path to get it started rather than completion. So there's and those souls are needed, because otherwise we get too wrapped up in our own fears of what we think will work, you know, and all of our naysaying comes into play. So the number 22 is here to step in and get you past that. It's kind of like get you right past the riptide, where you'll be safe from the waves knocking you back, you know. So that's their purpose, is to really, they're driven, very driven souls, and beat a lot of odds. They're kind of against all odds type souls too, as well. They're always kind of the people that have made it big, or what you think is big or famous, and but there's always that story to tell for them, because they had to rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and they got knocked back and knocked back and knocked back, you know. So that's been they're builders, so spiritual and earthly. So they're a little more earthly, right?
Yeah. And you know, and it's like you know, taking their vision, or what they can see, and bringing it down to earth, right? And that doesn't always align, because it's like there'll be people around them like, no, but this is how it's done, and this is the rules of it, and this is like this is the steps you have to take. And the 22s are here to challenge that. They're like, really? Who says so? Because I really feel like my vision is this. Absolutely. And it's like, and if they follow it, like, it brings success, like, like you say. And they're here to prove that.
Because they're magical. They're the great manifestors. Since they know how to pull the information from the ether and bring it down into the earthly, they can do the same thing with anything they want. They are literally the magicians in the tarot deck, because they're fantastic manifestors. You know, you'll hear a number 22 say, I'm going to do this one day, and they do. Like, they will manifest that. You know, they're not talkers, they're doers, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they are. And then the 22, and then the 22 is connected to Aquarius in astrology.
Oh, that's right. I could see that. Yeah.
Okay, and then the final master number is 33, which also has the meaning of the number 6. And 33 is about Christ consciousness. So it goes in the realm. So it's not about being Jesus or incorporating, you know, the Bible or the religion of it. It's the consciousness of, we are all one family. We all are part of something. We are all connected. And the consciousness of, you know, help your fellow man, because when you do, like, you know, there's a ripple effect. Like, it helps, you know, other people, or it helps yourself as well. Like, it's all that connection. And I find 33s, they are learning about sacrifice. So at times they feel, I know, and that's not, I know, and it sounds dreadful, doesn't it? It sounds hard, but it's like, but you know, they will. And then when you think about the story of Jesus, like, you know, his journey on the cross, right? It's like he sacrificed his life on the
Everything.
cross,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So anyway, so
Yes.
33s at times they will find like they're learning about sacrifice. So it's like, what do they have to give up to gain? Or what are they going to, sacrifice for the greater good? Because it's not always about them, right? And that's, where it's like great, fellowship and community and service. They're here, and it's connected to like inclusion. So it's like no matter your background, no matter your beliefs, no matter what you do or where you're coming from, you're part of my circle, you're my family. So it's, that can be connected to sacrifice too, because it's like you're sacrificing your own belief system to include someone in, even though you might not agree with their lifestyle, you might not agree where they're coming from, but it's like, I'm still going to be here for you, or I'm going to, love you through it. You know what I mean? Like in those terms,
Yes.
because it's connected
Yes.
to well-being, right? It's like, I will accept you. I will love you no matter what. And it's, I find 33s too, it's like they're showing us like about the humanity of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I want to say like, the last year, there's some things that have really disappointed me in human nature, like where I question, like, where's the humanity? Like, why aren't we doing better by these people? So what if they, are immigrants, or so what if this, right? It's like they need our help. They need, because it's for their well-being. They're suffering. See, there's, and it's like we need to help them out. And that's what the 33 is here for,
Yes.
It's that high level. Yeah. And they're pushing the boundaries. It's like, because I know people say like, okay, we should only help so much, but 33, sometimes they go above and beyond, and they're supposed to show that, like,
Yeah.
think about it for yourself. Sometimes when you're at your worst, or if you've had an experience in your life where you've been down and out, and it's like, did someone come along to help you, like, pull you out, or help you up? Because we need those people, right?
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially when we're at our worst. And it's like, sometimes the last thing you need is to be forgotten, or someone to come along and say like, oh, you made that mess, figure it out on your own. You're on your own. That's not what the 33-6 is, to help heal that and to overcome that stigma in society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
6 is absolutely about moving on from troubled waters and getting over that kind of inhumanity.
Mm-hmm.
It's so ugly. Yeah. It's been so ugly. In the United States of America, there was a law recently passed in Georgia that it was a felon to give someone in a voting line water. Now, this has just gone too far. Now, this is the contrast that is, we need all of the light workers to shine the light on and scurry this idiocracy away.
Yeah.
Water to a human being. Like, and we're talking Easter's coming here soon, and how inhumane is that? How, and these, most of them call themselves Christians that are passing these laws. So, so it's got to, something's got to give here. And
that's right.
Yeah. It's not right.
That's terrible. Right. No. And I want to say too, like,
makes me sick.
Yeah. Like, every number is about, giving and showing the best of ourselves, right? That doesn't always happen. But like, I find with the masters, they truly are supposed to exemplify that, because if they don't, then it's like their life falls apart, or they feel like things aren't going well in their world. So it's like the more that they give, I know there's people out there that says, no, you shouldn't be doing that. But it's like, no, masters are here to show like the more you give, the more rewarding life is. The more, gifts you receive, and it's got this ripple effect. So it's like master numbers keep giving, master numbers
Keep giving.
forge
Yeah.
those paths. Yeah, master numbers like show the heart, because that's what we need now. These are the times we
Right.
really, really need that. We need masters. And I feel like, I think this is a decade where masters will be stepping up more to the plate, or they'll be called upon, whether
Right.
it's, on a personal level. Let's say maybe it's just, around their inner circle, or, um,
That's right.
it's
Right.
needed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for the 33 in particular, it's their loving, uh, nurturing energy that uplifts the higher good of the collective. For that, we need that nurturing. You and I talk about the divine feminine really coming back into play now,
Mm-hmm.
and not the angry divine feminine, the nurturing, loving divine feminine, the all
Mm-hmm.
acceptance. There's no resentment for what's happened. There's none.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
feeling this wave, right, of acceptance of,
Yeah.
of what has happened to humanity, because Mother Earth Gaia and the divine feminine and the divine masculine are hurting right now, until we can come
Mm-hmm.
into balance with the earth, and which brings me to the Empress, which is the
Mm.
number 3 card. So but we need to come into that balance of earth, masculine, feminine, nurturing, because the masculine is all about protection, divine protection of our emotions, of the divine feminine's emotions. So once, and it's coming, I can feel it coming. I know the shift has already happened, because we're seeing such extreme ugliness, like having it
Yeah.
be against the law to give a human being water. That's as ugly as
Yeah.
it got when Christ was crucified. He turned the tables in that marketplace, and he was crucified. He was turned on because he wasn't standing up for that anymore. We can't stand up
Yeah.
for that ugliness anymore, and just allow bad behavior to continue. So it's our voices that will shift this and into the more
Yeah.
nurturing, loving society that we are meant to be. So
Yeah.
the 33 is an integral uh, uh, number for that, a soul path for
Yeah.
that, and energy
Yeah.
needs to be here right now. I hope there's more 33s that you see right now,
Oh, yeah.
because that's the number we need. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. 11s
yeah,
and
good,
33s. There's a lot out
good,
there, and I come across them quite often. Um,
good.
it's just the number 22 for some reason. And the other thing I want to say about all the master numbers, they're mirrors, because of the double digit, the same double digit, right? So it's like
Right,
life will
exactly.
mirror things to them that they see, like, oh my God, like this is good or this is bad. And it's like, okay, what do I do with this? And then they also mirror back to those around them. So they will either, like, others will either think of them as really encouraging people, or other people will feel like, oh, they repel me. And if you feel like
That's right.
you, if you're a master number, and if you feel like, wow, like, why do I feel like people don't feel comfortable around me, or why do, I'm repelling? It's because they, you're challenging them, and that's what you're supposed to do,
Yeah,
right? And to
yeah,
help people see the ways, or help people to see, like, the heart, like, get down deep, because master numbers they get down deep, deep and dirty, like really, really
yeah.
dig in there. And it's like, you're removing
Sure.
layers, and not everyone likes that. Not everyone wants to see that or recognize that in our world or in themselves. You see what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
And
it
the other thing I
scares
want to
them.
say,
Yeah.
yeah, and a good example of people to be aware, well, I don't understand why it's so, it can be so deep for master numbers, or why it can be so profound. And it's like, look at 2020. It was a double digit, two twos, two zeros. So when
Right.
everyone, like, hasn't it been like a really, and even this year,
Yes.
so it's like this next decade, because there's so many double digits, it's like you see how there's so many different things coming all at once from all different directions. So it's like 2020, it was COVID. It was racism. What else? I don't know about the Me Too movements. I don't think it started last year, but it still had momentum, right?
Amped up.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. Yeah, it
yeah,
amped up.
and then
Everything amped up. Yeah.
yeah, so it's almost like everyone was like, and everyone's still feeling it's like, oh, we're getting hit from all different directions, from all these different areas. When is it going to stop? That's what a master number goes through
Right.
this lifetime. Like they have periods in
Oh
life
my God,
where
right?
they go through challenges where it's like, I'm getting one thing after another, or from all these different directions. And they're learning to heal all that, or to, to come to terms with it, right? And
Right. So that
that's
they can
that's what
help the
makes them
collective as
relatable.
well.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right. Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. So I that can, that's a good way for everyone to get a sense of what a master soul path is like. So yeah,
Yeah, for
not
sure.
easy.
Everyone
Hmm.
should have their numbers read. Really, I mean, it really was life changing for me too, because we're talking about just major life path numbers, but it goes a lot further than that as far as numbers and meanings and right
Hmm.
and all these
Hmm.
things you've been going through. It'll kind of click into place with you. It's like, oh my God, okay, all right, I
Yeah,
can deal with that then, if that's what
yeah,
that's for. So it's I
right.
love it. I absolutely
Oh,
love
I do too.
numerology for that reason.
I do too. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it too. Can I just share one thing? So,
Yeah.
like, if someone sits down with me
Sure.
for a numerology reading, because we only talked about like the final number, right? But when I do
Mm-hmm.
numerology readings, I will look at all the numbers. So it's like I will look at what the year adds up to, the day you were born, and the month, or where the month you were born. So because it's like that
Right.
all matters too, right? Because sometimes,
That's right.
I'm going to
Yeah.
use you. I'm not going to share when your date of birth is, because I
No,
don't
go
know if you
ahead.
want
I
that
don't
public.
even mind. Yeah.
But the year you
Right.
were born, Julie, is a master number. And it's like, so
Yes.
when
You
I
told
did
me that
your reading,
1966. Yeah.
yeah, so when I did your numbers, it's like, oh, that number figures prominently in your journey, even though it's not, like the final
Yeah.
calculated number, but it still counts. And that's how my readings go. So it's like,
So.
we're just giving you a
Mm-hmm.
general feel, but when you sit down with me, it's like I go very in depth and will point out
Do.
whatever I feel like lights up or comes through strongly according to your numbers as well. So that will vary from person to person. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's so
Hmm.
wonderful. Yeah. And it really speaks volumes about the experiences you've gone through. So I
Yeah.
recommend it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. So we did well. We got through all the numbers.
Yeah. Did good.
Hmm. Oh, and I guess I should say, I forgot to
Yay.
say, so 33 in astrology is Pisces. And that's interesting because
Oh, okay.
33, like the Christ consciousness, and like there's some groups who believe like Jesus was born in the age of Pisces. Like I guess it depends, when with the astrology circles or the astrologer, like that does
Yeah.
that kind of thing. They will, yeah. So I just thought like that's a
Well,
neat correlation.
I have to say now that you're talking about Jesus, and so Rosalind's birthday is on April 3rd. Most people that know me know this. So she's always hated her birthday. She couldn't stand it. It was always kind of a dark day for her, and she couldn't figure out why. So last year, I think it was, I Googled what happened on April 3rd.
Yeah.
It was the day Jesus died. Friday, April 3rd, Jesus died. So she was
Like
like,
for sure,
so
for sure.
she was honestly happy to hear that. For sure. I mean, that's what Google said. Who knows for sure,
Oh,
for sure,
right. Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see that date in print from
Yeah.
her saying that. So now that Easter's the very day after, because Easter's April 4th this year. So I'm driving home listening to the radio, and this broadcaster says, this year will be the first year or the only year that April 3rd will be 4-3-2-1. And I was like, oh
Oh.
my God, another thing for Rosie for her birthday this year, because she's 33, she's Christ's age and Jesus' age.
Oh
And so
wow.
we made that a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
So so it was just interesting. I had to share
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Yeah. That is
with
neat.
Easter
Yeah.
coming. And so,
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting with the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, happy birthday to
Yeah.
Rosie. because that's Friday. No, it's Saturday. Yeah.
That's Saturday. Yeah, this Saturday. Yeah, we're
Saturday.
excited.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah, and happy Easter
that's
to everyone who celebrates it, for sure. I
yeah,
hope you
because
all
it's
have a
this weekend.
peaceful, warm day. That's right,
Mm-hmm.
this Sunday.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I just want to make a quick announcement. So Julie and I are taking next Monday off. So it's because some people celebrate it as Easter Monday, not everyone, right? And not every some
Right.
businesses close and some are open, but we just personally just like, oh, we're just going to take a break ourselves. So we won't be here on live or doing our weekly show next Monday, but we will return the following week with the new show topic. And yeah,
Yes.
so until then, everyone have a divine week, next 2 weeks, and I think, yeah, next week, 2 weeks, no, 2 weeks, and a divine
Yeah,
Easter,
2 weeks.
however
Yes.
yeah. And thanks for joining. And thanks for sharing all your wealth of information, Julie. Like, that was wonderful.
Oh, thank you,
And
Tina. You too. Thank you so much.
oh, you're welcome. And if anyone who's listening are curious about your numbers or if you're curious about your tarot cards, our contact information is as follows on the screen. Just send us an email and we'd be happy to schedule a reading. Yeah. So until next time, you guys, be well, stay safe, and take care. Bye.
Yes. Bye.